Hello, hello. So, my friends. So, I hope that you are ready for what may be 2 straight hours of me like rambling to myself. I don't know. I haven't done one of these in a long ass time. And certainly never quite like this. I think this is the kind of stream that we would have done a ton of had I been developing Dungeon World after I started doing Twitch stuff rather than... Anyway, game development. I have a whole notebook here, just riddled. This notebook here, this baby can hold so many game design ideas. Just riddled with like little bits and pieces of Womb of Night inspiratia. Like pleasure, all the weird ways of the flesh. And my goal today is to take some of the stuff from here and some of the stuff up here and kind of just put it into a document that will eventually become a playtest, which will eventually become a hack of a role-playing game that you can play. Now, it's my understanding that if you backed the Blades in the Dark Kickstarter, the final product that I am creating will be yours as a PDF. My intention is to create eventually a print product of this that will be available as well. But God knows the future is a distant and fucked up place. And by the time we get there, who knows what it will be like. Perhaps all things will have evaporated into space. Perhaps this planet will be obliterated by aggressive aliens in weed-powered spaceships. So what are we doing? What the fuck is going on here? Why are we here? What the hell is Adam talking about? Is he high? No, I am not. But we're going to be talking about things that might make it seem like I have a long history of psychedelic abuse. Is it abuse? I don't know. So a while ago, and let's not talk about how long, because game design is a long process, and shut up for 5 minutes. Some time ago, my friend and game designer, John Harper, I don't know John's middle name, or I would have used his middle initial there. I'm going to say it's F. John F. Harper, the F stands for fuck yeah, made a game called Blades in the Dark. Blades in the Dark. And when he was kickstarting this game, a game that we played, you might have seen it on Roleplay Blades or the Blood Letters here on this channel. You may have seen this game. You may be familiar with it from the works of Strash Ashimovich, or you might be familiar with it by way of Mutants in the Night or Girl by Moonlight, etc., etc. So continuing on this trend of hacks and remakes and remixes, John asked me, as well as a bunch of other really cool people, if I wanted to contribute a hack of his game, which I do. I had an idea, and I was like, all right, let's see if I can make this into a weird thing using blades. And going along with the fairly convenient naming structure of the game I am going to be producing eventually, the hack of Blades in the Dark, is going to be called Womb of Night. Originally, we were going to call it a womb with a view, Womb of Annihilation, Mordenkainen's Womb of Foes. No, none of those. You don't like those? So Womb of Night, let's talk about what this weird beast is going to be. So my core inspiration is an album by a rock band, a rock and roll band. And you know what? I'm gonna make a note, because this text will eventually find its way into the game. So let's start there. Let's start with this document here. So I'll talk to you a little bit about my influences, and then we'll kind of talk about what the game is sort of about. So my core and key influence, the first thing, the touchstone that set off the fire in my brain, there's basically 2 things. It is the album Warp Riders by a band called The Sword. This game is essentially, in a lot of ways, my homage to this album. So if you want to understand kind of where this came from, Warp Riders, which is a sort of sci-fi space opera, rock opera thing. So, Warp Riders by the Sword. I will go on record as saying it's probably the last good Sword album. Apocryphon was pretty good, but it's sort of been downhill since Warp Riders. So Warp Riders is an album that I've listened to many times. One of my favorites. I really like it, and a lot of the stuff from it has inspired me. And then I would pair that up with a little film called Heavy Metal. I guess also the magazine Heavy Metal. But Heavy Metal is a crappy movie from the 80s. It's a terrible film, but it's exactly the right kind of corny terrible that I want. They basically just took a bunch of bullshit, threw it together into a movie, and was like, I don't know, fuck it, this is our movie. It's like an adult film about juvenile bullshit with a soundtrack that is only like a tiny bit metal. It's terrible, but I love it. It speaks to me in a deep, powerful, stupid way. Like to the point where, what do they call in heavy metal? What do they call? What's the like cocaine analog? What is it? It's stop bogarting the. There's like a name for it. I'm gonna put it in the game. Basically, it's gonna go in there. Nyborg. That's what it's called. Don't bogart the Nyborg. So anyway, heavy metal is really cheesy. It's a movie that your weird uncle loved. My weird uncle loved it. And so heavy metal is a big inspiration. I'm trying to think if there are other, like, obviously, The Sciences, by, I think that's the name of the album. Yeah, The Sciences, by the band Sleep, which brought us such exciting lyrics as The Bong Jabbar, which is cool. So, Sleep, The Sciences, Electric Wizard, what was the name of that album? Dope Throne. Of course. Dope Throne by Electric Wizard. So that's good. Dope Throne by the band Electric Wizard. And you're starting to understand, I think, the things that are leading us to what I'm after here. So there's likely to be more of these as we go, more things that I listen to that will inspire me, but this is a good start. Comic books, basically like the entire collected works of Moebius. Also, what is it called? It's not Paragon, Prometheus, I think. Let me see. Comics, I haven't read it in ages. Maybe it's Prometheus, maybe it's something else. What's the name of it? And it's like, it starts with a P. Prophet. That's the one. Thank you. Yes, thank you, Rising Cosmos. Prophet. Definitely. Really good comic. I haven't read it in ages. I got to go back and read it again. Also, for movies, Jodorowsky's Dune. And probably other Jodorowsky films as well, because he is fucking weird. And he's just the right kind of weird. Like El Topo, Santa Sangre, Holy Mountain. Oh, also, of course, Zardoz. Of course, Zardoz. Big inspiration. Big inspiration. I don't know that TV's ever gone as weird as I need them to go. So I don't know. Maybe there's TV shows, but I certainly haven't. I can't think of any off the top of my head that are really inspiring. But yeah, this is kind of a start. And I'll go back. I think Aeon Flux is a little too like. It's a little too slick. I want like weird. I want like 70s weird, right? Aeon Flux is a little smooth. I think by the time we get to like the mid 80s, we're too late. We're a little too far. But I'll take a look and I'll see. There's some specific vibes that I'm kind of jamming on here. But yeah, also like other things that I find inspiring, like weed, I guess. like, can I give shout outs to a drug in my, can I just be like, this game is dedicated to the guitarist of Sleep, the crew of the sort, and then also like weed? Like, I guess, like, that's maybe. So anyway, this is, you're kind of, I think you're kind of starting to see where I'm going. I want this game to be like a psychedelic hallucination. I want this game to be strange and decadent and weird and like out of touch in the way that this kind of like stoner, like heavy metal like thing can be. Yeah. It's that's sort of my plan. Yeah, Barbarella might be a little too early for this, but yeah, so this is kind of where I'm coming from. This is what I want. I want like pterodactyl riding wizards. I want like space barbarians. I want marauders and yeah, just like, yeah, American 70s psychedelia, but not hippies. Like post-hippie weird. Yeah. So I'll build this list out, and obviously the end result will be quite a long list of stuff. Which I guess leads us to the real question you sort of have to answer, right? Where we can kind of preload the 3 questions. Like, what is this game supposed to be about? What am I trying to build? What do the players do in this game? So it's a sci-fi game in the sense that you will have a space vessel and you will travel from world to world doing weird things. I want it to feel like a little bit like Conan in space. A little bit like I've smoked too much weed and I'm getting paranoid that maybe there's demons living in my skull. I want it to be, yeah, I want it to be like, look at how big my hands are because I've got magic. So I want the players to be a crew of a spaceship of marauders. I want them to be in competition. This is the core Blades premise. I want them to be in constant competition with other crews who are on other spaceships trying to pillage and destroy and serve a higher power, which we'll talk about in a minute. And I want them to just try to get up on each other. I want them to be in competition with each other and then also with the world at large. There will definitely be a sort of the man trying to keep you down, because I think that's crucial to playing Blades in its normative state. I think that you need an authority. I want it to feel different from the core Blades, which I think is easy. I also want it to feel, and this is going to be a little different, a little more difficult. I want it to feel weirder and more subversive and stranger and more uncomfortable than Scum and Villainy, right? This isn't about like, yeehaw, we lost the war and now we're up against the bad guys in space. We're just a bunch of good old boys flying around this universe. Like, it's not that. It's like weirder than that. I want no one in the group to be normal. I want all of the characters to be incredibly strange, but focused on a purpose. And I think the ship will help that. So I guess let's take a look. Let me look at my list here of stuff that I need. So I made a little chapter listing. So these are all things that kind of go into every like Blades hack, right? Like this is stuff that goes into all of the Blades games I've seen so far. So I need to write kind of an introduction. We need to either lift or rewrite some of the system stuff from Blades. I have to sort out actions and attributes, which are really important because they tell us what we're capable of doing, right? So the two things we get are, what are you rewarded for doing and how do you do those things? So actions and attributes will help us understand those things, right? We'll talk about fortune rolls and how rolling works in the game. The only mechanical shift that I definitely want to include is that if you roll a roll with exactly 3 6s, something really fucking metal happens. And maybe I'll make a table, but I'll definitely make guidelines for what happens if you roll the devil's crit. If you get 3 6s on a roll, Satan's he's here for you. Your goat-legged after lord, he's gonna come fuck shit up for you. So the devil's crit, I want to make it like a specific thing in the game. That like, because you know, role-playing games, smoking weed, worshiping the devil, it's the holy trinity of being a dumb long-haired teenager in 1980s America. So that's the plan. So that's something that's going to go under like fortune rolls. We'll talk about demons in this game and their place in it. We'll talk about advancement, obviously character and demon creation, and then marauding and carousing. Carousing is going to be our sort of downtime thing. So that's some stuff I gotta put together. Yeah, right. Chapter 10, learning real magic. Right? This is when like you can bring Blackleaf back to life, etc. So yeah, these are kind of all the things that I think I'm gonna need to put together eventually. And now what I haven't decided is looking at Blades in the Dark and looking at Scum and Villainy together next to each other. Scum and Villainy is like we're getting into this universe with Blades where like Blades is vampire and Scum and Villainy is werewolf. And I'm wondering if I'm making like mage or wraith, right? Like, do I want to include all of the material from Blades and then rewrite it? Or do I want to, right? Like, so I don't know. Like, I'd like to be the super weird game that like only 1 in 10 people who bought Blades ends up playing, or like 1 in 100. I don't care, honestly. Like, I just want to make this cool thing. And I'm happy being the weird cousin in the family. Like, all these other games are about things people might actually want to do. I'm okay if people read this and are like, what the fuck? What am I even supposed to do with this? I don't get this away from me. Give me Scum and Villainy. Give me Blades in the Dark. Give me something that I can actually play and I don't have to, you know, own a bong to win at. So yeah, I'll take a look, and part of this would be cutting down what's in Blades to fit and then rebuilding some things. I think like with most Blades hacks, the place most people start and the places that I imagine. Yeah, exactly. That's precisely what I was thinking. I'm going to write it like all of this stuff that Blades already says. I'm just going to be like, here, Blades says this. And then I'm going to look at it again later when I've done all the flavor shit and be like, okay, how do I need to rewrite this? Or what do I need to change to make this not Blades anymore and not Scum and Villainy anymore? Right? What can I take and then adjust? Yeah. So, let's take a look at, I'll show you some of the stuff I've already got and we can kind of talk about that. So in my Womb of Night folder, I have playbooks, I have demons, I have character elements. Let's talk about the actions right now. And I'm not totally set on these because I need to add another one, but like Blades, I've divided it into 3 sets: Insight, Prowess, and Resolve. Insight is broken down into Commune, See, Intuit, and then I need another one. And I think I'm going to come back to fill this one out, but I haven't figured out what that is yet. Prowess is broken down into Operate, Perform, Scrap, and Stalk. Resolve is Endure, Evoke, Murder, and Talk. So I'm bringing Murder back because you have to, I need it. There was, so early Blades, we used to have Murder as a stat, and I'm taking it back. John can write it out of Blades in the Dark, but I refuse to let it go. So Murder and Scrap are the fighting one. But Murder is something that assassins do. Scrap is something that barbarians do. And I think Scrap might be, I think I might change it to like Brawl or something like fighting someone with the intent to harm them or get something else is like scrapping. And then Murder is murdering to murder, right? Killing in the name of. You want to like put someone into the ground. That's what you do. So the way I see these is Commune is a magical stat. Commune is the thing that you do to talk with your demons. We'll talk about that. See is like your ability to perceive and understand. Intuit is figuring out things that are not clear and obvious. There'll be another one here because I think you'll see when we get to the playbooks. Prowess is Operate, which is like using things and like mechanical shit. Perform is singing, dancing, making a show of yourself, etc., right? Scrap is the fighting one I talked about. Stalk is all the stealth stuff. Stalk is like sneaking, hunting, and it's got a violent angle because stalking is for murdering, right? You stalk to lead up to murder, or you stalk to hunt someone. These characters are all dangerous and scary individuals. You have to be. Oh my god, I could change C into gaze. Gaze is pretty fucking fun. Yeah. Anyway, we'll talk about all this later. I'm just giving you kind of my framework of where I'm at right now. And then resolve is endure. Endure. I know Screwed is a good one too. But Screwed seems like focused. Screwed seems like scrutinizing something seems like something that this kind of maniac might not be able to do. But anyway, so endure is like specifically kind of taking punishment. Taking drugs is based on endure, right? How much Nyborg can you snort through your nostrils? And then like, it's not for resisting. And because there's a resist mechanic. I need to figure out endure and how that's going to go. Evoke is another magical one. Murder and talk, they make sense, right? So we'll come back to insight and we'll figure out how that stuff works. The supernatural ones, and I'll put a note next to them. The supernatural ones are evoke and commune. Those are the two that you use to do supernatural shit. Well, again, we'll talk about that in a second. So those are my actions. The character, let's take a look at the playbooks. So the playbooks, the kinds of characters you can be, this is my very first like zero draft of these. So the assassin, a cold-hearted killer, the blade of the knife and the heart of a foe. Paid to kill, their services are always in demand. Play the assassin if you want to skulk the shadows, study your foe, and end their meager life. Their main jam is strangling, stabbing, killing, murdering. That is their main thing. You want to be a cyborg ninja? Fucking go for it. You can be the assassin. So that's the assassin. The Navigatrix. So the Navigatrix is really important. The Navigatrix is a character who she sings the songs of the star seas with a sacred voice, trained to guide her demon ship between worlds. We'll get to the demon ship thing later. Play the Navigatrix if you want to seek out the mysteries of the universe and fold time and space with your mind, right? The Navigatrix is the Spacing Guild meets the Bene Gesserit. The Navigatrix is a direct reference to a line in one of the songs from Warp Riders talking about the Navigatrix of the Star Seas. So she's the astropath. She is the person who, Uranus' daughter, Hermes' bride. She is the one that guides you through the stars. Without her, you cannot do this. And I'm gonna make it explicit in the book that if you don't have a Navigatrix, you have to spend a crew expansion to have one in your ship, right? The Noble is a debauched and decadent overlord. Play the Noble if you want to be cultured in the ways of the universe. You want to smooth talk your way out of and into trouble. The Noble is Baron Harkonnen. The Noble is Fade Rotha. The Noble would be Paul Atreides if Paul wasn't such a fucking square, man. The Noble is the Marquis de Sade. The Noble is, this is like the over-the-top nobility, right? So that's an option. You can be a debauched noble. You can be a priest. The priest is the devoted cultist of the ship demon that gives your vessel life. They listen to its hungers and placate its outbursts. Play the priest if you want to have a very intimate relationship with your ship. So the priest is the high priest of the ship's demon. The priest is kind of the mechano-engineer. The priest is the one that will have the like tech skills for fixing and applying the sacred pastes, etc. Right. So the priest is our worshiper of the ship's demon. The Ravager is a beast, a brute driven by blood and battle. Play the Ravager if you just want to rip your shirt off and run screaming into the fray. So the Ravager is a fighter and a marauder and a pirate, but not a trained killer, right? If the assassin is the sang-froid of the game, the Ravager is the hot-headed monster. So the Ravager is the like screaming barbarian maniac. And you can play one of those if that's your jam. The Scum. The Scum is a slinking, crawling thing, a survivor who has learned to play the games of Shadow and Whisper. Play the Scum if you want to sneak around and manipulate your way to survival. So the Scum is like a stowaway or a criminal or an outcast. The Scum is someone who probably even among the crew doesn't have a fixed place. Yeah, and the Scum is like a burnout. The Scum is that dude in Wayne's World that they pick up who's like, this is our friend, but like he's a super drunk and he might barf in the car. That's the Scum, right? And then lastly, the Star Wizard. Mind addled by the sacred herbs, the Star Wizard has learned the ancient incantations of magic, allowing them to invoke strange sorceries. Play the Star Wizard if you want to conjure pterodactyls and stare into the void. So the Star Wizard is different from the Priest or the Navigatrix, and the Star Wizard knows how to take galactic bong hits and conjure the sacred smoke, right? They don't commune, they just get fucked up and do magic shit. So this is, right now, these are the playbooks that I need to design. There's some overlap, there's some nudgeability, but my understanding here is that I think probably the Priest will have abilities focused around communement, right? And then the Star Wizard will use evoke. And I think if you evoke too much, you have to endure, right? So that's a great question, Dave. Which playbooks can be robots? So that brings us to the other important thing for building role-playing stuff into the game, for building rewards. Under character elements, your heritage and background. So you're one of those playbooks, and your heritage is where you're from, and your background is what you used to do. So your heritage can be, you're just barbarian slime, born on a world where might makes right, and tribes or clans squabble for control. Hundreds of these planets dot the blackness of the void where warlords rule their savage kin. You found your way off of your barbaric homeworld and into the company of your crew, which makes you smarter, stronger, or luckier than anyone you ever knew back home. The demon spawn come in all shapes. Some look just about humans. Others bristle with otherworldly appendages of a gruesome parent. Either way, you were born with the taint of the ship demon on you and are marked as such. Some grow to be messiah figures, others are shunned. Which will you be? So, like, demon spawn is literally like, I don't care what kind of weird alien fucked up thing you want to be. You're a demon spawn. There's functionally two kinds of natural creatures. There's humans and demon spawn. So the next one, how did you get here, Earthling? Are you here at all, or is this just a very bad trip? Whether you're from an ancient age or a psychonaut from a more modern time, this strange nightmare is your reality now. So this covers anyone that you want to play who is from Earth, like literally Earth. You could be from ancient Babylon, you could be from the future, you could be from 1986. It doesn't matter. You're here from Earth. Are you here on purpose? Are you lost? Again, is this a bad trip? Did you just take the brown acid, hippie, and now you're stuck in an alien spaceship? I don't know. I don't care. It doesn't matter. You're an Earthling, right? You may have been engineered as a pleasure replicant, a mockery of pure humanity, or perhaps you take the form of a battle servant, a warrior robot of hideous strength. What was your original purpose? What do you seek for yourself? Emancipation or emulation of your former masters? Is there a higher destiny for one such as you? Literally any kind of robot. If you want to be Roy Batty, if you want to be the fucking Klaatu Barada Nikto robot, I don't care. Literally anything that has been built, you can be engineered. Yeah, so that's a thing. Those who come from the high court worlds drip with culture and debauchery. They're used to the finest clothes, the most comfortable ships, and the sweetest delights. The high court amuses themselves with duels and with drugs. Every day a new and divinely expensive pleasure wrung from some new world. Oh, what delights the star seas might hold for you. Right? Hedonistic, like, pleasure seekers. You could also be like a high court assassin, right? A noble duelist. So the idea is that you can engineer the character you want. This is the other fun one. Wrung from the ancient past or flung here from the future, you're a time traveler of another age, bound to the crew and to its demon. Have you come back to change something? Have you come forward to avoid some catastrophe? What do you know that we don't? So your ship could have like a robot, a noble, a time traveler from the future, and like a demon spawn. right? So, yeah, time traveler, earthling, high court, anyway. And then if you're shipborn, then the screaming stars were your lullaby and the bowels of a demon ship was your cradle. Your parents might have stowaways, or you were a sacrifice to the ship itself. You might be the child of an officer, or the squalling issue of a pirate's loins. You're home here more than anyone else is. So time traveler and earthling don't have any crossover in the sense that a time traveler is from now in this universe, right? They are from the universe of this setting, but the earthling is from Earth. It's just that I don't care when or where from Earth you are. So if you want to be an earthling from any time, that's fine. If you're a time traveler, you have to explain like what was different then, right? And it's all for the only true purpose for any of these is during the session, once or more than once, if you show your heritage, you get XP, right? That's all it does. It creates the world and it gives the GM some stuff to play with, right? And then your backgrounds, so things that you did, you could be an academy initiate. So you attended the academy, studying the secrets of sorcery or undergoing training to become a Navigatrix. You've been initiated in some arcane order, whether you remain a member of it or not. Now, not all Navigatrices have to be academy initiates, and not all academy initiates have to be Navigatrices. The academy is large and covers many things, including sorcery. So it gives you some room to sort of play, and I want to make that really clear. You could be a belonging, right? Someone owned you once. Were you made for them, or captured in battle, or enslaved by marauders? Before you had no will of your own. You're free now, more or less. You could be a chosen one, right? Your destiny was marked by demons, a local god, a magistrate, some other power. What is it you were prophesied to do? Were you tested or pampered by your people? Do you follow your destiny, or are you shirking it, right? This is how you get the, like, I'm a teenager from Earth, but I've come into the weed smoke future of another dimension to save it. This is how you be the protagonist from Kill 6 Billion Demons. Earthling chosen one, right? You could also be a barbarian chosen one, right? Rise above your people, become the greatest pirate ever known. Robot chosen one, right? You're the T-800. There's lots of spaces for these to cross over. Criminal. You were an illicit dealer in substances divine, a thief, a forger of documents, or a false navigatrix. Whether you've been caught or you're on the lam, there's always going to be someone out there looking for you. You could be raised in the demon cult. Raised among the faithful, your family served a demon, either a shipboard entity called to carry passengers across the star seas, or an earthbound entity in a temple on some planet somewhere. You were raised with the rights all around you. If you don't really care about your background, or you just want to be like, I don't know, I have amnesia, let's find out, you could be lost. Who knows where you came from? You certainly can't remember. Maybe you're from another plane, another time, or just another burnout who've imbibed too much of the sacred herb and ruined their mind. So you could just be like, Dave's not here, man. I don't know. I'm just on this spaceship. You could be military, right? You've served in one of the great many armies that clash across the universe. You fought for glory, for purpose, or merely because your planet was in the crossfire. Your life was a struggle of blood and fire, and now you turn those skills to the service of your crew. Or lastly, you're an outcast. You once belonged to something. A demon cult, a noble house, some cadre of loyal allies. Now, you're nothing. What did you do to be cast out? On whose word? Do you seek reconciliation? Or does revenge haunt your dreams? So you'll put those two together, and if we take a look at like a Blades sheet, all we're really doing right now is kind of this, right? This little section here, filling that out, figuring out what these stats are over on this side, and then Vice. So we're going to figure out what the vices in this game, what they look like, because I think that's a big color option. So for that, I've put together vices. So your vices might be blood. Your lusts are only sated by violence, whether unto others or yourself, or both. Spilling blood is all that will satisfy you. Communion, the slithering praise of the demons and their high priest, is your only release, right? A demon is your daddy. Denial as a vice, right? Depriving yourself of some blessing of life. Food, water, air, sight, speech. It matters not, except that you do without. I don't know, maybe you're really into autoerotic asphyxiation. Maybe that's your luxury, right? Only the finest things can please you. Maybe you need a coat with 1,000 collars, so long as they're finer than anything anyone else has. Pleasure, the debased pleasures of the flesh are your vice. The weirder, the better. Maybe your pleasure is star song. The screaming song of the stars burning in the void can satisfy you, right? This is you sticking your head out the window while the ship's flying around. And then lastly, stupor. The sacred herbs can be used for more than mere ritual. Whether you're filling your lungs with smoke, filling your belly with wine, or some other stranger form, only in stoned stupefaction can you find respite. So, or respite, yeah. So these are the vices in the game. They're gonna replace and supplement faith, gambling, luxury, obligation, pleasure, stupor, and weird. So you can see there's some crossover there. And then our trauma conditions. So if your character gets all fucked up, what happens to them? So you're burnt out, taking one too many lungfuls of the sacred smoke. Your mind's wrecked. Your reflexes are shot. Cold. You're as icy as the void between the stars. Nothing can touch you now. This happens if you take too much stress and you trauma out. So you could become cold. You could become obsessed, right? Something's gotten under your skin, and no matter what else you're doing, you can't stop thinking about it. You could become paranoid, right? Classic. They're out to get you. They want you dead. They're around every corner, whoever they are. Possessed is a new one. So your ship's demon has taken a more direct hold on you. So its tendrils are in your mind, pulling your strings. Reckless. Nothing seems to matter except the brief thrill you get from taking incalculable risks. Unstable, right? You're wild and unpredictable, capricious as the stars sees themselves. And then vicious. What's one more murder? There's no mercy left in you anymore. So this is what happens. I took soft out because no one in this universe gets soft. You get hard and then you get dead. So let's talk about demons, shall we? So the other thing you do in Blades, you pick your character, you build your character, and then that's you, right? You have all your special abilities and all that stuff. But then as a group, you choose your crew, and your crew has special abilities. It has a cohort. It has all these other upgrades. But I didn't want to go with spaceships. Originally, I was like, it's like a ship, but Scum and Villainy does ships. And I think we can do weirder than that. So your ship needs power, right? Your ship needs power to move it across the star seas. No wind blows that lets you unfurl a sail and travel the sea of stars. You need an engine. And to power an engine that can send you across the void, you need a demon. You need a demon. You need to bind a terrible entity of darkness to your ship. And so demons are the crew. So instead of a ship, you pick a demon and you build its terrible hull around it. And the demons are divided into what they desire. So you have to feed your demons. So your demon needs bloodshed, right? The ship's demon drives you into battle, bristling with weapons. It seeks the glory of spilled blood and conquest. Whether you're a crew of cunning assassins or brutal warriors, it matters not to a demon of bloodshed. Your ship might be powered by a demon of secrets, placated and fed by discoveries of things best hidden. Lost worlds, new routes, blackmail, and lies are all fuel for its desperate hunger. It may be powered by riches, right? By any means necessary, it seeks out wealth. Attired in glittering shields and bannered in finery, it will reward its crew with a life of high luxury if it's tended to appropriately. It could be a demon of chaos. There is a way to things, a flow to the star seas and all the life in them. A ship possessed of a demon of chaos will demand the disruption of that order. Whatever the status quo, the demon is placated by its upheaval. It could be a demon of supplication, demanding devout worshippers whose desire is not the flesh but the mind. Yours is a missionary ship whose demon demands loyalty, love, and obedience from the crew, which must be ever growing. And then lastly, a demon of intoxication. All those experiences which are new, novel, and overwhelming must be felt and shared by the crew of a ship possessed by a demon of intoxication. Always seeking the next new thing, these pleasure vessels are sated only by exhilaration. So yeah, instead of a crew type, instead of a ship type, you choose your demon and you clad your demon in its body, which is the ship, and it will reward you with special powers. It'll give you weapons and all of that stuff. So essentially, yeah, you are the crew of the Event Horizon after it comes back from the void. So these demons, these demons inhabit your ship. You'll name your demon, and it will be a thing that you need to stoke its fires, but not so much that it, burns you up in its hungers. So you have your own hungers to contend with, and you have the hungers of the ship. Yeah, and so the GM, the crew itself is like, literally a character. It's a demon with its own desires and powers, and so I'm gonna have to include like demon stuff, like how to play a demon and what that will look like in the game. So that, I mean, this book is full of like random miscellanea, random scribblings of madness. And I got to a point where I was like, look, I just need to start building bits and pieces. So what's likely going to happen is we're going to build little chunks of this game as we go, and we're going to jump back and forth, and we're going to make adjustments. The thing that people, I think, don't understand or maybe misunderstand when they look at a game design, a tabletop RPG design, is they forget that it's not like a book, in that no RPG is written front page to last page, right? We write them in bits and pieces, referring to chunks here and there, and the whole thing kind of gets lifted from the bottom up until we have a game. We've dredged up from the bottom of our strange subconscious. So I'm really going to be leaping around making bits and pieces of a game until we realize, like, oh, cool, this is enough. Now, my goal, and I say this both to let you know and also to kind of put a stake in the ground, is I'd like to have something available for playtest in 7 weeks. I have a date. I have a kind of a jokey deadline. And my hope here, and let me double check. In my home country, good, okay. Starting October 17th, marijuana, cannabis, etc. is going to be legal in Canada. And I would like to celebrate on October 17th by releasing a playtest version of this game. In honor of the patron saint of Womb of Night, Mary Jane. So that's my date. That's the arbitrary date that I'm aiming for. October 17th, some form of playtest material that you can use to try this game out. Whether or not you are taking galactic bong hits previous to or during the game, that's not my responsibility. I can't tell you what to do, but that's the date. That's kind of what I'm aiming for. So I think to get to sort of playtest ready, I need like a base version. Well, let's make another document. Let's make like a checklist of what do we need. So let's see. What do we need for October 17th playtest? All right. So can I make like a checklist? I can't, can I? I can make it to like be printed out, but oh no, I can check things off. Okay, great. So I need playbooks. Do I need all of them? I don't know. They need to be completed enough. I need at least one demon, like ready for playtest, right? I need like a core scenario, kind of like the crows thing, right? Like, so playbooks, maybe like at least 4. Let's do that. 4 playbooks, at least 1 demon, a core scenario, and then all of the other shit can come from Blades, right? I feel like that's, yeah, minimum amount of playbooks for the number of players. Okay, all right, that's not bad. I can do that. I can do that. They'll like, the thing is, the key to remember here, the important thing here is this is a playtest. Shit's gonna be bad. That's fine. we just want to like make sure some of the core shit works. So yeah, I mean, example adventure is this, right? It's this core scenario. So, that's the plan. So I need those things. So let me look at the playbooks and think about which ones are likely to be the easiest to make. I think the Ravager, the Scum, the Star Wizard. I mean, I'm kind of neutral on all of these, to be honest. Like, I could probably, you know what? I'm not gonna decide that. I'm just gonna start making them. So I'll iron these out as I go. If I get stuck on one, I'll move to another one. And then yeah, we'll work that out. Okay. All right. Good. Good. I mean, the Star Wizard might not be a good choice because then I have to figure out how magic works. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah. Sometimes. Yeah. Sometimes the thing with the Navigatrix is I can ignore her because she can be in the background. I can be like, you're navigating. I mean, maybe like your Navigatrix is kidnapped or whatever, right? Like it doesn't. We don't have to. I don't have to focus on that. I don't have to do everything at once. And I'm leaning into a lot of what Blades will fill in for me. So, yeah. I mean, I need to figure out how magic works mechanically, not fictionally. I don't give a fuck about that. I'm fine with it being a weird mystery. Okay. Good. Great. Yeah, we don't need space travel. I don't need to build worlds. I don't need any of that stuff. Yeah. Okay. All right. So I can close off heritage and background. I can close vices. I can close trauma conditions. So I'm going to keep a couple of these open. And we'll see what we need to add here. So we've got our demon types. What playbook should we look at? So what, I mean, let's see. What makes up a playbook, right? Like what do we have in a playbook for a single character? Special abilities, dangerous friends, items. I think I want to start with XP at the top. I think that's the place I can start with. So it's not too much. Like characters in this aren't, they're not that much. They're not that much stuff. So I'm okay with that. And do they all have the same amount of stuff? They have like 1, 2, 3. Oh yeah, and that's true. Starting pips. Okay, well let's make that document now. Let's go playbooks. Let's make a new one. We'll go what do I want to, I mean, it's like the easiest one. Let's start with the Scum. So I think the Scum is probably the easiest. And so what does a playbook need? It needs starting pips. So that's important. Where did you go, Scum? Ah, no, get out of here. All right. Starting pips. Not staring, starting. Okay, so starting pips in the actions. It needs XP, right? 3 XP triggers. It needs items. 5 friends. 5 friends. It needs moves. Is that what they're called? What does Blades call them? Special abilities. So special abilities. It's 8 of those. And I think that's about it. I mean, obviously, like the details of those things are quite a bit larger than that, but all right, cool. So let me take a look at actions. I think I need a thing for this. So you see what I mean about like what stuff am I not covering? And I'll come back and name and readjust these and stuff, but I kind of want to have an idea of what they do. So my understanding is commune is like a bit like attune. Perform is intimidate, right? And yeah, this is good. You can throw at me some things you would want to do in this game, and I am happy to tell you what they would be if they have one. So hacking and tinkering, all that shit's under operate. I think C is like study, basically. I'm going to change this to scrutinize. The idea here is like, it's, yeah, like I want there to be 3 perception things. Doing drugs is endure. Manipulate people is talk. Yeah, scrutinize. Intuit is like figuring out what people are thinking and feeling, like feeling it out, man, right? Yeah, talk is bargain. If you want to shoot someone, it depends. Are you killing them in cold blood, or is this a gunfight? Knowledge, study, that stuff feels like it's scrutinize. Yeah, right? Like, tactics. I mean, tactics isn't doing anything. Tactics is like, I don't want to add another magic one. Deception is talk. Basically, all the social shit is either talk or perform. So, like, by comparison, in Blades has hunt, study, survey, and tinker under insight. It has finesse. Oh, maybe I don't have like a athletics. Do we have like an athletics one? Oh, we totally don't. Yeah, like running and jumping and shit. So maybe I move some stuff around because that's prowess, right? Is like athletics, or if I move operate into insight and prowess, we put, it's not like exert, it's like, yeah, this is like running and jumping and shit, right? Like physical stuff. Oh yeah, that makes sense. Stalk under insight. Yeah, I mean, this is what this is going to look like. So parkour, traverse. Now, because it's not just about movement, like lifting heavy shit. What's a word that covers essentially like all of your, all physical exert? Maybe it's just exert. Maybe it's just exert. Let's put it as exert right now. I just about said, like, yeah, I mean, if you want to have like intense, athletic, orgiastic sex, it's a combination of exert and endure. This guy fucks. Yeah. Do a flip. Yeah, totally. Yep. Okay. Exert, endure. I like it. Okay. So we'll stick with those for right now. And then starting dots, you get 3, right? So scum, I imagine, begins with Stock 2. Endure 1. Stock 2. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, 2 and 1 and one another. So yeah, like maybe scrap for like fighting, scrapping. Scrap feels so innocent though. Like brawl, but brawl feels so like Dungeons and Dragons. I want a word that's like when the mosh pit gets a little out of control and you're hitting them for real. Like an assault feels too like pummel. Yeah, it's got to be like I'm trying to hurt you. Yeah, like thrash. Thrash is pretty good. I like thrash a lot, actually. I'm going to switch scrap to thrash for right now. And it's a kind of metal, so yeah. That's good. All right, Thrash. This is when it turns into a real fight. When you're like punching someone to knock their teeth out. Okay. All right. Stock. Yeah, the assassin would probably get stock too. Okay, so let's do for the scum. I want to spread them out more, but I can't. I don't know. Yeah. I think Thrash 1 for sure. And then what's the scum good at? Because, like, no, you know what? No. It's fine. It's fine. Assassin is murder 2, stock 1. Yep. Stock 2, Thrash 1 for the scum. Because the assassin, and actually here, let me start. And this is how it works. We just make 1,000,000 documents. So this is the assassin. And the assassin gets stock 1 and murder 2. Because that's their fucking thing. They murder people. Okay, murder 2. Great. Okay, so anyway. So, you know. So, what do you get XP for doing as a scum in this game? So like these are kinds of things like address a challenge with violence or coercion. Oh, there's actually only one. Oh, of course, because the other two are from. Right. What am I thinking? Okay. Because the other ones are just straight up from Blades. So I like these. Every time you do the desperate action, mark XP in that attribute. And then these ones, I just figure out for this, right? So let's make this whole thing just a list because that'll help it stand out.